Hey, welcome back. We're starting another conversation, and as we have some real talk about the real time issues that you have with your man, your money, and your mini me. And this week, we're focusing on mini me. And this is just kind of to build on what we were talking about in our last conversation. We were talking about the the disrespect of your mini me towards you. And we were talking about, what you do. Well, actually, I was talking about what I did. I was telling on myself. And I shared 3 action steps that you could take. And I wanted to come back and revisit this because it's something else that I wanted to share with you. I wanted to go just a little bit deeper. And so I gave you 3 action steps. I said, 1, to show yourself some grace. 2, to look within. And 3, to relieve yourself of the pressure. And I talked about, things, how to do that, right? But I wanted to kind of hone in on the look within. I want to focus on that one for a little bit because as a mother, one of the things that we all have to appreciate is that there is no cookie cutter. Whether you have 1 child, whether you have 2 to 6 children, 10 children. I don't think people are still having 10 children anymore. My grandmother, my father's mom had like 8 kids, something like that. My sister, one of my sisters had 6 children. My mother had 6 children also. But I don't think we're really in that era where people are having a whole bunch of children anymore. So, let me reduce that number. I'm not going to say 10. I'm going to say multiple. If you have 1 mini me or you have multiple mini me's, there's no cookie cutter. And one of the things, you probably heard me say this before, but one of the things that I always say is that you're dealing with when you have multiple mini me's, you're dealing with a bunch of personalities. When you only have 1 mini me, you're clearly dealing, unless they have split personality, you're only dealing with 1. But when you're dealing with multiple personalities, and this is just to the point about no cookie cutter, when you're dealing with multiple personalities, you just really gotta appreciate that the cookie cutter thing doesn't work. You can't. And yes, I said can't. People walk around talking about can is not a word. There's nothing you can't do. There's plenty that you can't do. Like, one of the things that I hate is cliches. Oh my gosh, listen. Cliches don't deal with real pain, okay? They might be a band-aid for your pain, for your real pain, but cliches don't help you when you've got real pain, okay? And when your mini-me is disrespecting you to a point that it makes you want to, it becomes so unhealthy that either you want to harm them or you're harming yourself. That's real pain. Okay, so back to what you can't do. And yes, I said can't. I know, Superwoman, that we take on the world and blah, 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 blah. However, there is kryptonite for the Superwoman, okay? It's different for each of us, you know what I'm saying? But we all have kryptonite. So there are things in our humanity, our human capabilities that we cannot do. And one of them is you cannot handle all children the same way. All of your mini-me's All mini-me's cannot be handled the same way because they have different personalities. Now, granted, the rules are the rules. The boundaries are the boundaries. The guidelines and such, they are that. So you do have to enforce the rules and set the boundaries that apply to each of your mini-me's. Again, whether it's one or more. You have to do that. However, how you get them in compliance to those rules, those standards, those guidelines, those boundaries, it requires a different approach many times. It's very, very rare that you'll have two mini-me's that you can handle the very same way. And I always use this illustration. Y'all probably be like, Ray, you just violent. Love me. But listen, I love to use this illustration because it drives the point home. Two of my nieces, my sister and I, we were both single parents, single moms. And so I was helping her raise her kids. And she was helping me raise mine as well. We were helping each other. So we raised a total of like 9 kids, 8 or 9 kids, because we also had our siblings. So yes, we were young mothers thugging it out. Okay. And so she was more of okay, this might sound weird, but I just really need you to follow me. Okay. So you can kind of get it. She was more like the husband, even though I didn't treat her like she was my husband. I need you to be clear on that. I'm just talking about as far as roles go. I'm using air quotes. As far as roles go, she was kind of like the husband because she was, she had the career. She was going out to work every day. Me, I was, there was a point where I was working, but I stopped working and I was home with the kids, excuse me, I'm so sorry, that yawn came out of nowhere. But, I was home with the kids and I was the one, making sure that they got the homework done, got the chores done, that, they were, whatever responsibilities and stuff like that, that kind of stuff. So I was kind of like the wife. My sister was kind of like the husband. I was kind of like the wife. So I was home with these little people handling it. Okay. And because it was so many of them, there were so many personalities that I had to deal with. So, illustration. There's one niece that I have that if I didn't grip her in her chest and say what I had to say, nothing equated. She just didn't get it. She didn't understand the severity, the seriousness, nothing. She was just, she was just about her own thing. And once I gripped her in the chest and said, listen, she was like, oh, okay. And it got done. Whatever it was, it got done. Now, another niece that I have, which is her sister, if I so much as made a mean face or raised my voice to her, she would bust out in tears. Bust out in tears. So you get that if I gripped her in her chest, it would not be productive at all. It would not help me to get the result. No result. But if I was gentle with the niece that I had to grip in the chest, and I'm just saying that figuratively, I might have gripped her in the chest 1 or 2 times. I don't really know, but I'm just saying that figuratively at this point. But I don't want you to think that I was traumatizing those children. And let me say this too. Every one of my nieces and nephews love me. And I'm so serious when I say that. Listen, whenever my nieces and my nephews see me, the youngest to the oldest, when they see me, immediately a smile comes on their face. Like they call me all kinds of nicknames. They call me Urs or Hey Ray, that kind of thing. I'm Ray, like they love me. Even my great nieces and nephews, they love me. So I want to, I just wanted to clarify a little bit because I don't want to give you the impression that I was over there knocking teeth out or anything like that. But, there were some of the kids that required a little bit of aggression. Luckily for me, it's a part of my personality. And another part of my personality is to be very gentle. It's to, be very, very kind, very patient. And so, those kids, they pulled on every ounce of me, every aspect of my being. They pulled it out of me. Believe me when I tell you. And so saying all that is just to say what you can't do. You can't handle all of them the same way. Each mini-me is different. Each mini-me has a different personality. And this is why you have to, you have to look within. Because to the point, what I just said, that they pulled every aspect out of me, it was all within me, what was in me, so the good, bad, and the ugly, they tapped on what was in me. So looking within, when you get so frustrated, when you get so angry, when you feel like you want to, internalize it, which you can't internalize it. I asked the question, I had posed that question. I asked, when your mini-me's disrespect towards you, when it's too much, like how do you respond to it? Do you internalize it? Do you lash out? Do you get violent? Like, what do you do? And so when it's affecting you negatively, when it's bringing out the worst in you, then you definitely got to look within. You've got to start getting answers. You got to start asking some questions like, what's going on with me? Seriously. And I'm not saying it's your fault that they're disrespectful, but what I am saying is that, matter of fact, I'm telling you, it's not your fault that they're disrespectful. I'm telling you that. Children will be disrespectful. Children will push the limits. They will absolutely do that. It's how we respond to them. We're responsible for how we respond. And what's going on with us it dictates how we're going to respond to them. I told y'all in the other segment of, how I responded once, which was, wasn't a really good thing, but and so looking within, your answers are within, and that's where your relationship with God comes in. And again, whoever God may be to you, but ask those questions, because what we tend to do is go looking at somebody else's situation and hearing somebody else, what somebody else did. And we tried this and we tried that. And then you find yourself saying, well, I tried this, I tried that, I tried everything. And they all fail you. And they fail because there's no cookie cutter. They fail you because it's not your solution, but your solution, your answer is within you. And sometimes you do need help from someone else to help draw that out of you, which is, kind of like why we're having these real talks, because that's what I do. But it's, you've got to appreciate that. Yeah, it's in you. Those answers are in you. So the other person's situation or, their solution doesn't work for you because it's not your solution. But there is a solution for you, personalized. So those are my thoughts. I definitely want to know your thoughts. So chime in, leave a comment, and always Get with me on social media at Ray Share